them in time though.
That's his best opportunity as any though. Just one wood ramp really separating them. Irazumi just has his work cut out for them. Queasy, Vino as well. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place, continuously trying to backtrack, put themselves in a better spot. Their own box at that, because that would have been dangerous if anybody tries to peek. A little bit of a lobby focus here, but nothing that they can't handle as they return and burn, taking down Irazumi. Tened was already knocked, so they get all that loot in the world. And look at the difference in which it's going to make their game.
Yeah, that was somewhat of a saving grace as well for them. I wonder what Vino has in terms of heals, because Queasy is usually that player that plays the heal off for this duo. Unfortunately, he had to use a bunch of his heals. A nice limb there, though, along the way. It's important that Vino has something for them, and if not, they'll have to find it if they do want to play for heal off. This is Savage and Vidil. Also still alive, also still looking good and consistently making it to endgame, which is what they did last week, which led to their success.
This is going to be the tricky part, though, this portion of the end game where we begin to get those moving zones, and where you heal, where you use a lot of your resources is going to be very, very telling of where you end up at the end of the game. You can see Zara already popping one legendary slurp juice. All you need is at least one. Zangi has wing condition on his back, but high above the ground, high above the res. Nathan and Jake, when everything comes chopping down, they're going to be forced to use a kinetic blade to keep their high ground intact. But Jake, he actually gets knocked altogether. But so much pressure on Nathan as a solo, and he's barely above the damage threshold.
He's got to give it up. Zangi and Zara will not allow him to stay, and he knows that he drops down. Zangi and Zara, they like to play high, and so that's what they'll do here in game one. They're looking to take it. Seti, still alive as a duo, and he's looking strong. The materials are starting to run low, and so we have to start to get creative soon. But if you're Mappy and iDrop, or Mappy and Mappy, as to say, things are also looking good. A nice refresh found there, and they got a lot of heals to work with.
Yeah, perfect for them. Just take note. Any other player would probably just get that elimination, get the scraps, leave it in that box. They bring it all the way to them, to where they have that safety, where they have that comfortable feeling of being able to finally get the elimination. But Blink, you might have missed it. Savage goes down. High ground putting the pressure there. We lose Veno along the way, but Queasy's up for the challenge. He's able to get at least another elimination, trying to claim that loot, but on the other side is a hungry player ready to take him down.
The big thing for Queasy here, though, is look at his materials, absolutely max, and he has so many chug splashes. Maybe not enough heals to win the game, but he has more than enough to stay in this one till the very end, can continue to just top out the rest of his endgame with his mats if he really chooses to. Things are not all lost for this duo. For Vidil, though, doesn't have Savage anymore. In a very similar situation, but he's also looking good on his materials.
9 splashes is all he's really going to have left, but luckily for him, a lot of that damage was shield, but he's going to go ahead and expend it, save him, put him in the back pocket. He knows they're going to come in use later. As Curb, Default, they're trying to go unscathed, but towards a little bit towards their left, a little bit of high ground, they get tagged up. For them, they only have a few slices of pizza. They're only enough to get through lunch, but what about dinner?
Gotta be careful of these players when you're layer. Mappy dropping down. Understand that they have to stay out of that congestion. They want to clear layer. They want to be free of all the teams around them. And Queasy very much doing the same thing here. Making sure he's very aware and looking for opportunities, not shying away at all. Does want to find any other solos looking like him who he can capitalize on.
You can see instead of just straight kinetic blading, he's trying to keep his position relatively unknown. Zara and Zangi, they're still holding on to the high ground. It doesn't matter how many times things get chopped away from them. Vidil as well. We talked about him being a solo, losing Savage very, very early on in terms of these cascading placement points. So this game is huge in terms of the next 6 that they're going to play overall. Kylie gets lost backside of zone. Another player in Vico going to have to do it as a solo.
Vico, hoping Kylie was able to drop all those heals to him so he can continue to play this one out. Things are looking so good for Zangi and Zara, though, all the way up there. Nobody really posing a threat to them. They can just start to count their heals, figure out how long they can last in this game before one of them drops down to fight. Howley and now Tenzi down below, running low on pizzas, but they're going to continue to top out, and there will be players here to capitalize on them right down beneath that layer, just having to break their way through builds that aren't theirs so they can form new land. Apex Mappy now, all the way in the back of the zone. He's going to have to start healing.
Yep, you see those splashes going off. He doesn't have time to pop the slurp juice. Almost threading the needle there, but pushes out the slap juice again. He's trying to battle against Vico, who takes him down. There's a huge amount of heals from Vico to claim as his own. It's going to close overall, and this is where the heal off is going to begin. Zangi drops down low. He's going to be the fragger, but doesn't even make it close to anybody.
Doesn't take anybody down along the way. And so the heal offs begin up above. Will Zara have enough? Didn't really take any storm ticks. Gonna be looking to try find anyone. If he gets that, he gets a refresh for it as well. Things are looking good for Zara. As long as he didn't take earlier damage, he won't have to worry about storm sickness. Vika will try his best, but his best won't be enough here unless he can find Chugs. No, he cannot. Voxy, gonna start to run low, but does still have quite a lot of heals actually. Pizza does have the slurp popped as well, and the chug splashes, and I'm not sure what Zara has left. Does he have anything in the zone? If not, it might be a clean sweep for Voxy. As long as storm sickness doesn't play a factor, things are looking very good for him here in this game.
It's all up to this moment. A few seconds. That's all Zara has, but he's going to get himself a couple of more. But Storm Sickness finally
Can capitalize and take advantage of. The top two teams coming into this game fell early, and so there is opportunity to usurp that first place slot. And so with Queasy and Vino being where they are, they will certainly look to do that. Oh my goodness. This is why we say they should not be allowed to have pulse rifles. There's even more. I thought that was it. No, they take down Coop as well.
Are we watching?
And another one to drop.
FNCX, so we're watching the Thomas Malabuka highlight. I feel like I blinked. Moments ago, they had 5 elims. Now they have 8. Thomas leading the charge, and it's a scary sight because Malabuka, he can come online at any moment.
This is the Thomas Coop mixtape right now. This guy is feeling it, and now they can start to make their way to zone, where they will sit and look for even more players to find, even more players to take down. Savage and Vidil still alive. We saw earlier in that first game when Savage went down and left Vidil in a solo clutch situation. This game, if they can stay together, stay deep in this one, there'll be another threat for heal-off.
Threat indeed. Looming around every one of these corners for Sineb and Irazumi. Gotta be careful. Storm Surge is not gonna be a worry for them, so you gotta have your eye on the prize. Not make any mistakes, play as close to perfect as possible. Thomas and Malabuka being proactive, destroying builds just outside of their cover. If the zone pulls that way, they're going to be ready. 1,000 above the damage threshold. Very little worries for them, unlike Vico and Kylie, who sits 16 below.
Okay. A little chop comes through,
Sorry.
but it will be able to get back together. Just ramping up with the floor stair and wall, and somebody spotted it, decided to try and take a chop at it. Gonna have to reconnect. Thomas has fallen though. After all the hard work he was putting in earlier in this game, it's now Malabuka left as a solo.
Malabuka's someone I know I can trust. Kind of pick up some points, do as much damage as possible. Placement points beginning to set in. You see Mr. Savage and Vidil going for the cheeky play, trying to drop him down, but they're connected somewhere else that they don't see. But now they become the focus. Mr. Savage quickly thinking of a way out, and he takes towards the left side, hovering against the zone, making it that easy to diverge from point A to point B. But Irazumi, hot on his heels, doesn't want to let him escape. And while all that's going down, Malabuka finds a huge knock somewhere else.
Popping off in the backside of the zone is what he'll have to do. But he's going to actually look to Kinetic Blade up and out, but he doesn't want to get buried beneath all those teams. But there are 2 players just on the other side of that wall that he has to worry about.
Queasy and Venno holding on, ultimate height. Mr. Savage and Vidil close by. You got to be careful because they don't have that sky base. They don't have that ramp, ultimate in the sky. So a threat for the Kinetic Blade to be looming around every corner as Irazumi and Sined get another one taking down Kyrie, going towards that ultimate low ground, which is a must because they now have very little builds, if any.
Sei and Camilo doing just as we've seen them do in many, many different seasons, many different chapters, tarping towards that front side of the zone, being safe, being secure. Savage needs to be careful, needs to catch his bearings just a bit because the materials are low and a refresh will have to be found imminently if he has any hope of staying alive in this game.
Malabuka's been doing this around the top 20. 10 duos went down, and he's struggling to pop that slurp juice, which kind of forces out the splashes just a little bit earlier than he'd hoped, using almost all of them. Queasy Venno, though, sitting pretty towards the high ground. They're going to try to connect plate up, stagger themselves, put themselves in a better spot. While that's going down, Malabuka's using this as an opportunity to land some cheeky damage, but he now has to stay with the zone. He's out of heals, and elimination is a must. A siphon is needed.
And Vino and Queasy, they're being forced to take him with far more ticks than they would have wanted to. He's been such a nuisance to Height, and he takes down Vino along the way. Malabuka causing problems for the Height team. It's Mr. Savage that gets revenge for them, but the damage has already been done. Queasy had to go in for heal-off rather early, and he's going to be up against Seti and Kami, and Sinner is still in this one as well. A repeat of what we've seen many a time before. I don't think Seti and Cammy have enough steam, have enough gas. The difference is though, Queasy, this is where they land. They land that Kinjutsu. He knew the med miss was there. He can go right back to it and use it for heal off. But Cammy has his own med miss. He has enough time to stay in the game as well. Who will outlast who? Queasy's med miss is coming to an end. Is there any other loot that he can remember being here at Kinjutsu? It doesn't quite seem like it. So it looks like Cammy will walk away with it. A repeat of battles between those two teams, and another time where Cammy and Seti come out on top. Everybody has to make a move on.
Looked like a child's movie with a monster underneath his bed, grabbing at his feet, sucked him underneath. As Veno's gonna go down, and the horrors continue. As Queasy is just trying to separate himself from everybody else, but he's the focus of the lobby. A lot of his hard mats being expended, being left with very little, but Queasy knows how to resource management. He knows the situation with all this pressure finally slowing down. It's giving Queasy a chance to breathe and rethink in this situation.
But another game, Jacob, where Queasy has to play it out as a solo. Did incredibly well in game one in this circumstance, but will he do it again? There is a team close by he has to be worried about. But there's also loot that he has his eye on. Oh, he's found an extra slurp. Okay. That's nice. That might make the difference. And he's going to drop that big pot for the slurp as well. Wise decision. 3 mythic slurps for Queasy to use. Shamoki and Swizzy, the team that we saw win 3 games last time we were watching these qualifiers. And here in game 3, maybe a chance to win another. Queasy going down in the feed, unfortunately. And that's at the hands of his former teammate. Jacob Hen takes him out.
A little bit of bragging rights right there. A boast of confidence. And a huge amount of loot found, because you saw Queasy had him just moments ago. And for Hen and Paco, that's a huge find, because now Paco's back on up. That extra slurp juice was instantly used. That's 7 eliminations, and you can see Swizzy and Shamoki with their tower in the sky. They're almost going to go through uncontested if nobody looks up.
But they've got to be careful, right? Floor, ramp, wall to build their way on up. When Queasy and Veno did this last game, they got chopped out, so have to be wary. But they will use this position way up in the sky to try and take everybody down.
Story though, unlike this story here, 48th place in round 2, barely squeaking through to get another shot at the weekly finals. And before this game even came in, they were into the top 10, fighting for more, and another elimination is going to be found. You can see all the loot that lands in the box, a huge pile of gold, figuratively and literally speaking, as Vidil's going to collect it all. 9 splashes, definitely going to be the player of his duo to play that heal off.
Crazy and Perceive, we've seen them throughout this game, and they're not done yet. Perceive moving on through, trying to get to the right side of the zone, and base up, down, below. You can see they move on to low ground.
Trying to stay ahead of everybody else. They have the time to do it as the zone does begin to catch up. Flodax, I don't know where Hen was able to find that one, as he was a flying saucer going through the sky with Kinetic Blade. You got to take note for a lot of these players, once they Kinetic Blade forward and upward through the zone, they try to land on a high layer, but not high enough to challenge Swizzy and Shamoki, and that's why you see nobody really looking up. I'm getting that sense of deja vu because they dig into their bag of tricks for week 1, and it's looking like it's paying off.
But the deal and Savage up alive together are such a threat in this game. You can see they're trying to drop down to low to find the limbs, and that's what they'll do. Picking up one there and looking for even more as they knock on this wood wall. Need to get out of the way though as they get stuck beneath some builds. And they're moving up and over ahead of everybody in the zone, but still catching up to Savage.
A lot of damage going to be taken by the storm though. Hen and Paco, ever since they got that elimination onto Queasy, it's been smooth sailing, but I might have cursed them. They both get beamed out of the sky. Paco just has a sliver of HP. Hen looking a little bit more safe, but both of them, that slurp juice is being popped out a ton earlier than they would have hoped. 11th zone, 1 more to go. Crazy's going up, down, left, right, and center before he finds his spot. He has a Mythic Havoc pump, so anybody dares enter his box, better watch out because he has 1-shot potential.
Crazy moving forward. Hen still alive and still hitting big shots. That's his 7th of the game, and a med miss found as well. It might not be enough to compete with the heal-off gods in this lobby, but it will be enough to keep him in this game as other players start to fall. Savage and Vidil, they've spotted someone in the zone they want to take out, but they may have to be careful with the players in the storm, in the zone, in the layers above them, pushing their way through. Vidil takes down Hen, and they're going to keep on looking for a limbs now.
That was a huge find at the perfect moment. Trying to get a little bit of a refresh, but Crazy has nothing. Shambles, no maps, but a chance to get the one pump, and he does! Crazy takes out one, trying to turn and burn, but his run comes to an end. But Skydude's trying to take the high ground, and he goes down! 8 splashes and a pizza!
He needs Shakos to find his loot. We saw them win a game last week, but it won't quite happen here. Put to a stop, put to an end. Swizzy and Shamoki, not on height anymore, but still trying to find a win here. Vidil tried to connect, bait his way into the zone, and now not taking any ticks. He doesn't have the healer potential though. He needs a miracle shot, and now it's not gonna come for him. He will fall, and so not many players left alive. Blatcher does have pizzas, he does have a slurp, and he has a chance to win this heal off. It's Shamoki though in this game, and all these heals he saved are up above here on height. Will there be enough to fend off Blatcher in this 1v1?
Looking like it is going to close out just like we do. The last bit of pizza is being scavenged up by Blatcher. Another slurp juice is going to be finished off. Shamoki doing the same thing, mirroring each other here, but with only 2 slices of pizza left, it could be Shamoki's for the taking.
Shamoki has the upper hand, but will he have the Storm Sickness advantage? Blatcher's running out. He doesn't have anything left in the tank, and so Shamoki will do what they did last weekend, where they won 3 games, starting here, picking up 1.
Yeah.
Payoff. Will Vidil be able to make this game worth it for their duo? We've certainly seen him do it in the past as he starts to make his way into zone, taking some shots for some players, but ultimately staying alive and getting in healthy. Venno and Queasy, we know exactly what they want to do in this endgame. They want to start ramping up, playing for height. Venno certainly has a lot of mats out. Certainly think this is something that they can do and they can play for. Have to be careful though. Zara and Zangi on the other side. And so if this zone doesn't pull in the favor of Queasy and Venno, it may just be Zara and Zangi who play for height. Both teams posturing for it, praying, fingers crossed for that zone pull. And it will not favor Zara and Zangi. They will have to make their way onto the other side where Vino and Queasy get the favorable zone.
Yeah, for anybody going down before that point, those are huge points. But Deal just kind of puts it all onto that final moment, trying to kinetic blade across and find a much more comfortable spot, but he gets sniped out by Zangi and Zara. His chance and points come to an end.
Yeah, and these guys know they're just gonna have to try to get to zone first before prioritizing height. Queasy and Venno had already started to ramp floor wall their way on up. We saw that be so effective for Swizzy and Shamoki in the last game. It's their turn now to do it again. Vidil, we wondered whether he'd make the game worth it. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that way. Queasy and Vino though, again, they got chopped out this time, but gonna rebuild, get their way back on up, and try and build a structure secure enough. Spray all the players in this lobby who might be a threat to their height.
Kind of read that one coming as soon as they pulled the zone as Cammy and Seti. This is a situation that they know all too well as Vico and Kylie trying to be as healthy as possible. You can see Kylie, no shields on him. A lot of those heals going on over to Vico to try to play into that win condition. But he goes down altogether. Now Vico is a solo, which honestly, with all those heals, he might have had to play like a solo, so it doesn't really change his position in the game so far, other than he's getting pressured. And he has to find a new spot to find some sort of safety. Teeny trying to do the same thing, but with Storm Surge taking him in, his heals are going to go right out the window because 427, there's no way you can find that amount of damage this late in the game.
Yeah, he would have to do something we have quite literally never seen anybody do in this kind of competition. And he'd have to do it very, very fast. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. There's no point sitting in your box. You might as well at least try and deal the damage, but maybe just trying to out-heal, outlast players. He knows he's not going to do enough, so he wants to stay alive, gather as many placement points as possible, and use the rest of his builds. And so just going to full top his way on through.
3 ticks and he goes down. Make it 2. Chances running out, and so are Vico's as he gets taken down. That was Swizzy, that was Shamoki. They got so many heals if they're able to pick him up off that elimination. Anchor Gold trying to do the same thing. They don't have the same splashes though.
Swizzy and Shamoki, they're not on height just yet. We'll scout and look for it, but they certainly still are a major player in this game to win it all. The range from this team, if they would be able to do that falling into someone's box. It's not his, but it's still alive. Why? How? Swizzy, you shouldn't be alive. You should have survived that spot. And his duo partner doesn't even do anything about it. It's for Strokey, he takes down. Hydra just has to watch from afar. And he's going to try and get revenge. But Swizzy, so composed, so elegant, so on top of everybody in this lobby right now. And he'll just keep moving. He'll regroup with Shamoki, making it look easy.
Reunited at last, and a lot of those heals, you see him pass him over as well. They have the best chance to take this. Maybe Queasy, Vino towards the high ground, Cammy and Seti fighting through the madness to the low ground. They have the heals. If they can survive, Kairo's getting under pressure. He's going to be able to escape, but he gets tagged out by the zone at the tail end. That's going to be a knock and a huge refresh to keep Cammy alive.
Cammy and Seti claiming space on low ground, looking for a limbs as well. That is vintage from them. Swizzy, he's lost Shamoki, but we know what this man can do all alone. Zangi may be in for quite the ride. If he is not careful, the ODM gear will come out way into the end game to try pick that limb up, but it's not going to connect. Have to use the kinetic bait to get back in now.
For him, it's all about placement before he goes down altogether. Cammy, they have the leaders of the low ground, they have pizza, they have splashes, they have Menmis, a recipe for success as Cade finds one slipping, but third parties from so other angles. Down goes Veno, and their run comes to an end. Cade's as well, he runs out of heals. This has come down to two teams, Cammy being one of them. Look at the heals, two different pizzas. This is a recipe for success as long as he doesn't go down to storm sickness.
And a repeat. Once again, Cammy versus Queasy in the final moments, both trying to out-heal each other. Who is going to have enough in the tank to survive? Both players having pizzas, but Cammy had two, and so it very much looks prosperous, favorable. A med miss as well from Cammy. How's he managed to find so much? This is way too many heals. This is enough heals for half the teams in the lobby, but he has it all to himself, and so Queasy now on the search, on the hunt. A medkit's found. I don't know if you have a med miss as well, but he's going to keep looking. We'll have enough time to use the med kit as well because of that slurp. And Storm Sickness is coming in for Cammy. He can't out-heal. It doesn't matter how many pizzas you have. Queasy will survive. Storm Sickness putting an end to the Polish player's run. And so Queasy will win the rematch in the 1v1 heal-off.
They are...
Yeah, will do wonders for them in terms of picking those up. But even with the way the zone is moving right now, if this game finishes close towards that brutal bastion area, if they do get to a heal off, there is always the potential to run in there and look at the captured flag and see if there's any loot. Of course, you gotta get there, and if you're Shamoki, that doesn't seem like it's gonna be an option for you. Swizzy left alone as a solo.
That's huge. Shamoki was the one playing heal off, sending Swizzy down to get the eliminations and prevent anybody else from doing the same, and they're gone altogether. That's Kaizen who gets one right before taking down Jalen moments ago. Huge amount of proactivity there in those first couple of seconds as Veno and Queasy, you can see them aiming into the distance, shooting down that skyscraper in the sky, trying to make it that much harder for anybody up there to try to survive. That way they have the best chances of any of them trying to steal it away, but a far pull for them. With just a couple of builds holding them together, they feel like this is a must.
Yeah, but look, Queasy's chopping it out. He spots the weakness in it, isn't quite able to get it, but it's literally just holding on by a couple builds. Queasy's gonna persist. Will he be able to crack it though? He will. They fall, they come tumbling down. And Misha, wait, did he just go down completely there? It didn't really look like he held on. His HP was so low by the time he got down to the ground. Really tough scenes for Misha and Tini.
If he survives, that is definitely going to be a miracle run. But
He went down.
the new players of the high ground, you see what they did to earn it, terrorizing everybody else. That's Queasy and Veno going to make claim for themselves. Sinet only 45 above the damage threshold, no HP, goes inside of the zone, only can take a few ticks. Doesn't have a chance to pop his minis either. He doesn't really have build to defend himself. Goes up over, perfect time to hit that hop to get out alive. Keep his game running.
Just has to stay alive. One build remaining. Use that to block yourself off when needed, or maybe build a stair if you have to get up somewhere. Well, no sudden movement's going to be made here from Sined. Like a snake waiting in the grass to strike somebody who isn't aware, who isn't alert, and that might just be Jurdy here. Wasn't able to connect to the fatal blow though. Just going to sting him a little bit. And so, again, just having to go back to retreating, hiding, lurking here in these old builds.
Just trying to recycle as much as he can, find some sort of a path to victory. But we lose Queasy along the way. The one who's been playing heal off. Is the revive going to be worth it here?
I think they both value them being up, even if they are taking some ticks. Gonna have to chug splash instantly if they are to stay alive. I believe that is what exactly has happened, using up all those chug splashes. Now the incentive for Queasy and Vino will just be to frag out, get as many as eliminations as possible, and maybe still try for a heal. If they didn't take any ticks throughout the game, there may still be hope. For Sinner though, his hope remains in hiding in this cone and hoping somebody walks right over his box. And that might just happen, but it's a duo. It's Perceiving Crazy. They're waiting, and they will not be caught out.
He's just trying to get any extra placement that he can claw at. Series points are so important, especially the 5th game going into our 6th, which is our last game of the day. The revive has been achieved. Queasy is back into this, but Drayson and Darky got the high ground. They're holding on to it. They have slurp juices, they have chug splashes, and a recipe for success as Vanille and Savage take down Link. A huge siphon, but they didn't find a huge amount of heals, but I was wrong. They find a full pizza, they find slurp juices, and a couple extra slices left over for lunch.
Vidil's just gonna drop his AR, and that's the right decision, totally. Needs to hold on to as many heals as possible. They really have a chance to play for heal off now, but they need to stay alive, and in the back of the zone, they need to be careful. There's so many different players here fighting, tumbling, fumbling, falling. Seti and Cammy are still alive in this one, and they have got plenty of heals for themselves, but they get taken down. It's Seti who falls. Cammy comes up clutch. And he's gonna go for the revive? No, it's not worth it. You just have to play for yourself, play for your life. Seti will drop you the heals. Vino and Queasy are gonna still keep fragging out. They're not playing on height. They might not have the heal of potential, but like I said, the incentive is to drop down and frag out, and that's what they'll do here.
This is going to be a big moment as everybody took some damage very early on. Veno, Vedil, they took damage. You got to think the high ground probably sitting pretty, able to escape a lot of that storm. Is Perceiving Crazy, causing some chaos down low. But Cammy is still slivering his way in throughout and past all these duos to try to claim a top 5 position here in our 5th game of the day. As everybody's just squeaking, scrambling through. A huge shot on the Veno. He's trying to survive, and he goes down.
Queasy and Vino fall, but it's fine. They weren't huge players in the heal-off anyway. Took way too much storm damage earlier. It just remains the rest of the lobby who has a chance to do it. Perceive will fall. Darky does have a chance up above, using pizzas, using the slurps. Cammy though, all alone. We saw him trying to pick up Seti. It wasn't worth it. There was a couple ticks that he took there, but another opportunity for Cammy to try and win a heal-off out. Vidil's still in this one again. We saw him find that pizza. Will it be the defining factor? Cammy trying his best. His best won't be enough. 3rd place still an accomplishment. Darky versus Vidil in a 1v1.
Pizza and Splashes versus Pizza and Splashes is coming down to who took the least amount of damage. The Storm Sickness. Vidil, he's run out. He only has 6 pieces of pizza left versus 5 and a splash on the other side. Storm Sickness around this corner. This is going to come down to the wire. He's getting chunked out. Vidil, Storm Sickness is sitting in, and he can't outlast. Darky takes the game for him and Dre.
Too many ticks to the Storm earlier on, and it will cost you. You cannot heal off against.
And they find themselves the highest point in the sky, able to look down upon everybody else with their game plan, figure out what is that next move going to be. They do get a far pull, but with this highest point on the mountain, they can just sky base. They can just build upward with very few teams having the ability to contest them.
And again, that floor ramp wall to enforce the base, something that we haven't seen in quite a long time. It sort of went out of style for many seasons. Saw it used last week on NA by Peterbot and Quanti. And clearly, Queasy and Veno decided to adopt it as well. We saw Shamoki and Swizzy using it as well a couple games ago. So we're seeing teams evolve, teams adapt. Seti and Cammy. These guys are staying true to their roots. They're trying to play low ground for the rest of this game as well.
What?
That might cost them. There's somebody right behind them. They weren't aware, they weren't alert, and Cammy and Seti get caught out. Seti down and out. Cammy still has life in this game and trying to get some revenge.
Doesn't know exactly where they're at though. He's peeking around the wrong corner. He was able to get out. That was Fakey along with Fremont. Kind of outlasting. Cammy goes right back down. He knows how important this heal off is. Takes a huge tag. Medmis is going to be forced out. This is not the position you want to be in if you're Cammy, because now he has to think, do I use those splashes for heal off, or do I use them now to get as much shield as possible?
This is Savage and Vidil have to get into zone again. A heal off will just be so difficult. Mr. Savage is down. They took so many ticks just there. It's going to be really hard for them, but the longer they stay alive, the better. The problem is they want to take first place away from Queasy and Venom, but that doesn't look possible. With just how strong Queasy and Venom look up above, nobody's going to be an issue for them.
Yeah, there's enough points left on the field right now for Vidil and Savage to take, but they need Queasy and Veno to go down, and they need him to go down now as Cammy's getting stuck outside of the zone. He gets tagged up from the high ground, sent back to the lobby. Their top 3 run, their chance for first ends there. Vidil, Mr. Savage, they're trying to do it. Menmis being used. They realize that link condition from heal off is right out the window, so now they want to get busy. They want to get active, try to get some eliminations.
With just how all our teams are looking, it looks like the top 3 coming into this game is going to remain the top 3 coming out of it. But there's still plenty to play for Thomas and Malabuka. They want to make this game count. We know they haven't had many opportunities, and they have one of the best loadouts you can possibly have in all of Fortnite right now. Mixon and Blackshot going to try and make this game worth their while as well. They came into this game in about 7th place, and they're looking to rise up in the standings, take over the spots of all those players that fell above them. And there is quite a couple. There is the opportunity there. Vidil and Mr. Savage isn't one of those teams where they've stayed alive for long, even under their circumstances. With their low HP, with their low materials, they're still making things work.
They even find a Menmis throughout all the chaos to try to get themselves back up to shape. It was Chicho, just like you said. The multiple slurp juices that were left back there, they're going to be able to gather them because Zone's going to pull back. Mixon went down. Now it's up to Blanche, who has 2 different slurp juices, has chug splashes, definitely has the key to success here if he's able to hold on.
Has to stay alive though. Apex Mappy in this game, no bills remaining. Is going to have to make some sort of a desperate play. You see, just taking a shot at that wall, wants to get in, but the player is going to block the pathway. He is really struggling to find anything, but then catches the eyes of a duo. But it's not a duo who'll be able to completely take out. Malabuka gets finished now. And so Vino, with the job of dropping down and causing havoc for everybody in this game.
You can see if he's going to be the one dropping down here, just like he does every other time, that pulse rifle is not what you want to put in his inventory. Queasy, a mountain in the sky. He's doing it big as Savage goes down. Vidil's run come to an end, but at least they got into the top 8. Hydro trying to do the same. A missed shot onto Trulex. He goes down. He's trying to stay alive. 7 floppers, 5 splashes, going to the backside of zone for only one reason, his attempt to win the heal off.
And with just how difficult this zone pull was for the rest of the lobby, you've got to think, who is it that can contest with him? Nobody. Nobody stands a chance against Queasy with all those heals in his inventory. It was such a difficult zone for the rest of the lobby to play Jacob.
Well, because we know the series point leaderboard is where we want to put points on. Vidil, Mr. Savage, Seti, and Cammy once again just putting on more of a show for us, right? Saying like, hey, we're not going to move from here. We're comfortable in our 2nd and 3rd place. Let's go.